It's no fun when our kids are sick, but we may just have found the silver lining. Apple and raspberry and orange flavoured electrolyte slushies made by Rehydrate.
Rehydrate slushies are a tasty way to get essential electrolytes into our little ones when they're dehydrated from sickness or even just the Aussie heat. They're delicious and they'll help your little ones feel better in no time. Grab Rehydrate from Coles today.
It's the Happy Families Podcast.
If we actually go out of our way to help people because that's the kind of person we are, if we're compassionate people, then our kids learn to love giving.
The podcast for the time poor parent who just wants answers now.
Well, hello, this is Dr. Justin Coulson, the author of 6 books about raising happy families. I'm here with my wife and co-host, Mrs. Happy Families, Kylie, the mum to our 6 daughters. Before we dive into today's podcasts, Kylie, we asked for, as a Christmas gift, if people who enjoy the podcast could share 5-star ratings and reviews. And Ange has done exactly that. Angeli Ladlow has left us a 5-star rating and review, called us relatable and lovable. How nice is that?
Seriously, this is the best Christmas gift ever.
Yeah, it is. By the way, you can leave your ratings and reviews at Apple Podcasts. That's where people see them so that they can find out about the show. Ange just said the absolute best in helpful family podcasts. Genuine and kind personalities, that's mostly you, guiding you through the roller coaster of parenting, especially loving the episodes with Mrs. Happy Families. That again is mostly you. Please make more. Well, Ange, we're going to keep on making more until almost Christmas time. We'll have a quick break and then we'll be back in January.
Well, just my mind is already starting to tick over about what we're going to talk about next year. I can't wait.
Let's talk about last night. So I did Unspoil the Kids, a webinar for all of our Happy Families members and anyone else who decided to join in. Really had a lot of fun doing that.
Yesterday's podcast, we talked a little bit about, gave everybody a sneak peek of what you talked about last night. And I just felt like there was this whole new episode coming out of it that we didn't get time to talk about. This idea of how to help our kids to love giving.
This comes naturally to you. I was raised in a home where my parents were super, super generous, but for some reason I was pretty materialistic and very much what's in it for me. I wasn't so interested in giving and helping and serving and making a difference in other people's lives. I just wanted to look after numero uno, whereas you were totally the opposite. And that's something that drew me to you. I was like, well, this woman or, this young woman who I'm dating is just so interested in helping other people. It was kind of foreign to me, but my goodness, I liked it. And over the years, you've done an extraordinary job of helping our children to love giving. I think we can probably always do more, but let's talk about that.
So one of the things that our kids from very, very young have loved getting involved in, and I think this is probably where it all started for them as children, is we love doing what we call secret drop-offs.
Yeah.
And so we'll pick a couple of families in our neighbourhood or, friends that live, a few neighbourhoods away. But we'll pick a few families that we really want to share some Christmas love with. And we'll bake some treats up and then, cellophane them up and put a bit of a ribbon on it. We don't ever let anybody know who we are. That's the excitement behind.
Only the people who listen to our podcast now know this. Yeah.
And then we don all of our blacks. We get, we get our ninja on and we get in the car once it's dark and we all go for a little drive to this person's house. And then we have to be really, really stealthy. And so this is so much fun. It doesn't matter how old the kids are. So our 3-year-old.
Stealth itself.
Yeah. We get her really, really riled up for this. And everyone tiptoes to the front door because it's no fun if only one person does it. We've all got to go to the front door. So we all go to the front door, tiptoe, tiptoe, tiptoe. And then when we get to the door, we do a little knock.
Oh, it's not a little knock. It's a
big knock. And then sometimes, depending on the layout of their house, we actually have to hide somewhere in the front yard because we can't get to the car in time. But other times we can get around to the neighbour's fence or something and we stay just long enough so we can see if they come to the door. I don't think we've got caught yet. Have we got caught?
I think we've been caught a couple of times. I'm pretty sure we have. Because usually I've got the vaguest recollection of children making noises or not actually hiding behind the bushes or the fence or the car. I'm pretty sure we've been caught a few times. But then we just have this wonderful celebration in the front yard with the family that we decided to spoil a little bit. So much fun.
It is so much fun. It doesn't matter how old or young you are. This is something that we really, really love doing. And as we sat down to plan Christmas this year, the kids were itching to know when we were going to do it next.
So that led to not the children not just loving doing secret Santa drops, but something that we started in our family because we've got so many kids, right? So obviously if you've got 1, 2 or 3 children, this is going to be pretty tricky. But when you've got 6, you can get away with it. We call it the secret sister Santa secret drop thingy. I don't know what it's called. Secret sisters.
It's just secret sisters. Let's keep it simple.
And so the kids, because there's 6 of them, they each draw a name out of a hat and they buy a secret gift for their sister. Or sometimes rather than buying a gift, we're going to be kind to a secret sister for a week or for a day or for, until Christmas. And the kids have fallen in love with this idea of the secrecy that comes from gift giving. There's something that they just love about the whole altruism thing. It just feels good to do good and to be good.
Well, what I've loved about this is this was completely and utterly initiated by the children.
Yeah.
I didn't instigate this at all. But as a result of our secret drop-offs, it kind of flowed into how can I do something for our family, and just recognizing that, with their meager pocket money incomes, they weren't going to be able to do something for everyone. And so this was a way that they got around being able to enjoy the gift of giving in a much more manageable way.
Well, did you know that there's actually some really strong science that tells us how we can help our children to love giving?
I'd love to hear that.
Let's do that next.
It's the Happy Families Podcast.
For a happier family, try a Happy Families membership because a happy family doesn't just happen. Details at happyfamilies.com.au.
It's the Happy Families Podcast, the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now. And we have been talking about how we can help our children to love giving. Christmas is this time where for most children, they're so excited about what's under the Christmas tree for them. And as parents, I think we just would love to help them gain a little bit of excitement about giving to someone else.
New science out in the last 2 weeks from the University of California in Davis tells us that we can actually create kids who want to give.
Really?
Yeah. So in a series of lab studies, children aged 4 and 6, but they had to complete this task. And as they completed the task, they received tokens for the task, and they could receive up to 20 tokens. So there's just under 100 of these children aged 4 to 6 try to earn all these tokens. And once they're given the tokens, they can use those tokens and swap them out to, win prizes and that kind of thing. But just before the session ended, children were told that they could donate all or just part of their tokens to other children. In the first instance, they were told that these were for sick kids who couldn't come in and play the games, do these tasks in the lab. And in the second instance, they were told that the children that they could donate the tokens to were experiencing hardship. And what they found was that some kids were more likely to give tokens than others. And those children were the ones whose parents were actually doing something different. So while the kids were playing these games and earning these tokens and doing these tasks in the lab, the mums were sitting in a different room. They were filling in some surveys about the way they raised their kids. They were specifically answering questions about their compassionate love for their children and for other people in general. So they answered questions in their survey like, I would rather engage in actions that help my child than engage in actions that help me. Or those whom I encounter through my work and public life can assume that I will be there if they need me. Or I would rather suffer myself than see someone else like a stranger suffer. And what they found was that children's generosity was supported by their mother's compassionate love. Now, there's something else that's really, really interesting about this. The kids were wearing heart rate monitors while they did the task, played the game, earned the tokens, and were asked if they would like to give them away. And the researchers found that the kids at both age 4 and 6 showed lower heart rate arousal. That is, they were more calm, they were more soothed, they actually felt better when they shared. Like their heart rates didn't go up. It wasn't anxiety inducing for them to have to be generous. It just felt normal and natural and good to do that.
This is fascinating.
Isn't that amazing?
So, as a 4-year-old.
Yeah, 4, 5, 6-year-old kids. And I think what that really says, there's some fancy science in there, but what it really says is, as parents, if we're a good example, if we actually go out of our way to help people because that's the kind of person we are, if we're compassionate people, then our kids learn to love giving.
I wish this would flow into it. If I'm a clean mum, that my kids would be like, how is this? This doesn't flow on in that area at all.
Well, you know what? Long term, we've discovered that it does, because our eldest daughter has moved out and gotten married, and she's actually really clean like you now. But when she was home, she wasn't. But that's such a good line. But bring it back to the whole idea. You know, people say that they want their kids to be giving and they want their kids to be selfless, but it starts with us. I think that's what that research really shows. The other thing that I love, though, is just that heart rate monitor, the regulation, this idea that our children, it feels good for them. Their heart rates stay consistent and low and stable in the act of generosity, whereas the kids for whom this is a hard thing, their heart rates are going up. They're anxious. They're like, oh, no, I can't give away these tokens that I've just earned. They're trying to hang on to it.
It's probably a good thing our kids aren't wearing heart monitors when we're doing our secret drop-offs, because I'm telling you now, their heart rates are through the roof.
So we would love to know from you, how do you help your kids love giving? Are you compassionate? Are you looking for ways that you can serve? Or are you just saying, come on, kids, be more generous because I'm generous with you, trying to sort of pester them into being thoughtful of others? So you can do the secret sister, although if you've only got 2 kids, it kind of does make it a little bit tricky to do that.
It does, but you know, the reality is it's not about whether it's secret or not. I think it's just encouraging our kids to get involved in the gift of giving.
Yeah, you're right. Let's. We'd love to hear from you. Our email address is podcasts. That's podcasts with an S. Podcasts at happyfamilies.com.au. We'd love to be able to share your best ideas with everyone who's listened to the podcast to inspire a happier and kinder Christmas. We hope that you've enjoyed the podcast. As always, we love your reviews coming through Apple Podcasts. Jump on there and leave us a 5-star rating and review so that other people can find out about the podcast. And we appreciate both Justin Rulon, our producer from Bridge Media, and our executive producer, Craig Bruce, for helping us to make this podcast sound great. If you'd like more information about how to help your family to flourish, or if you'd like to have ongoing monthly support, visit happyfamilies.com.au.